creative. This is Darnay with the Creative Motif, and today I'm going to show you 2 different ways that you can display your portfolio on your Squarespace website. Let's get started. So I've already got one page pre-built for a portfolio, and this way is a custom way of doing it. You can create a new blank page or even start out with some layouts if you want to. But basically it's just building the placeholders for your images. Adding a title, maybe your client or your story or licensing, and then adding a few image blocks and ordering them in a nice visual way that you can pop in your patterns or your art and display it in that way. You can also add different sections where you can create more detail for your content, and then even add a gallery where you can add additional images below. So this is a simple way to create a portfolio on your website that is just going to display one at a time. All I did was add a section, add some text blocks over here by going to add block. I went to text. I also add some image blocks and added them to this section. A helpful tip is if you want to duplicate an image, you can click on it and then hit duplicate, and it will automatically add it, so you don't have to keep going back to this image block up here and adding new images. And then I added a second section here where I added some text and made it a title, and then I added a second text box with some paragraph text. So that way I could give a little bit more of a description or maybe tell the story behind the artwork or the patterns or the collection that I've got here. And then I added a section with a gallery. So I went to images and added an image gallery. There's a couple of different options that you can choose from here. And then I could add more images from this collection. So in these blocks, you could do some mock-ups with your art or your patterns on some products or clothes or some scene layout to kind of show how your collection can be used. And then here is where you could put swatches or visuals into that. Another thing that I would add is maybe adding a section here with a contact. So you could add a contact, maybe add something about licensing, and that way someone can easily reach out to you about your collection. So that is one way that you could add a portfolio to your Squarespace website. Another way would be adding a portfolio through the portfolio collection. So you can access this through the main navigation or the not linked. Either will work. If you add it to the main navigation, it's going to put it up here in your main navigation. So when you hit add portfolio, you're going to see different ways that you can display your projects, portfolios, or different galleries. Either of them will do, and you can also change to either of these no matter which one you choose. So I'm just going to select this one, and this is going to be portfolio 2 since I've already got a portfolio. We'll say art, portfolio art, I don't know. Obviously I'll change that later, but here you'll see different projects. This is similar layout to a blog. And so you can come up here to these 3 dots and hit settings. And this is where you can put that featured image. This could either be a mock-up or it could be your artwork itself. And then you can add the title. And then I would recommend changing your URL to match the title. If you want, you can come in here and change the SEO, or you can leave it and search engines will eventually crawl your space and will populate something for you. You can also change the social image. So when you share it on social networks, it's gonna show up whatever image you put here. Once you do that, these are gonna act essentially like blog posts. So you can hover over them, and once you click on one, it's going to open up an entire new page dedicated to that design. So you can tell a little bit more of the story behind it, or you can give more mock-ups here. And then they can navigate between these different projects, and there's different layouts here. So there's a lot of different options. This, I feel like, is a much deeper dive into your portfolio if you want to go about it that way. So that is one way that you can add to your portfolio. I'm going to show you real quick how you can make some edits to this. You can go to Edit, and then you're going to Edit Section. This is where you can change that layout that I was talking about earlier. So this is a simple grid. There's also a hover where it follows the cursor. So it will pop up the different projects as you go over the title. There's a hover fixed. So the project will pop up in the center and stay fixed in one spot depending on what you're hovering over. Simple grid is what we were at earlier. This just has the title below, and you can have the image, and it kind of fades out as you hover over it. And then hover background. It will change the entire background as you go between each of the projects. Then there's grid overlay, where you will have your projects and the project title will show up as you hover over the project image. So that is how you can change that. You can also inset and have it be smaller. You can also change the height of the section. Dive into all of these different things. There's a lot of spacing, aspect ratio, different placement of the text, and also the overlay of each of these things that you can modify. You can change the background and the colors just as you would all throughout the website as well. The same goes for any of this content within a project. You just go to Edit, and then you can change all of the text or any of the content within the sections really easily. And then you can go to Edit Section and do any of the customizations through the grid spacing or adding a divider. You can do a lot of customization here and also change the background and the colors as well. Make sure you save your changes, and that is 2 different ways that you can add a portfolio to your website. Both of them are great options for adding a portfolio. One I feel is more in depth. That's going to be the one that has more of this grid-like option, which you can add straight from the collections portion of your navigation. Or you can build one out yourself by adding a blank page and then adding different sections and building out your portfolio so people can see everything at a glance. I hope that you found this content useful. Be sure to subscribe to this channel so you get all the updates when I upload new tips for Squarespace. And if you have any questions or want some help on a specific thing, be sure to drop it in the comments below and I'll make a video for it. Also, if you find that you're a bit overwhelmed with the thought of creating your own website, I created Squarespace website templates with you in mind. Each of them come with their own standout features, and you can view live demos and get all the details at thecreativemotif.com/templates.